Welcome back to Superhero Explained. So Deathstroke is injured, hunted, and completely convinced someone murdered Wintergreen. But here's the thing. By the end of this issue, the real horror isn't who he's chasing. It's what everybody else already believes he did. Okay, so we open right outside Deathstroke's burned out hideout, and the place is already a war zone. Crashed helicopter, dead soldiers everywhere, smoke, wreckage, bodies, total disaster. And somewhere in the middle of all that, Slade Wilson is still breathing. Barely. He's narrating his own damage report. Stabbed, shot, broke ribs when the helicopter crashed, and on top of everything, his best friend is dead. So yeah, mentally, physically, emotionally, this man should be done. But this is Deathstroke. Done is just not a word in his vocabulary. He's in cover, watching shadows move, and he calls out, "Is that Floyd?" And sure enough, Deadshot answers back with the whole casual, annoying energy. "You doing okay, buddy?" Deathstroke is not doing the small talk thing. He pulls the pin on a grenade and asks if Floyd is working for the same client who had his man killed. Now, Deadshot doesn't know they're talking about Wintergreen yet, so he just gives this fake sympathetic response, like, "Sorry to hear that. Maybe just surrender so nobody else gets hurt." Slade says, no chance. He's not surrendering. And Deadshot knows he can't beat him one-on-one. Then Deathstroke throws the grenade. And Deadshot drops the real warning. "Yeah, that's why I brought a friend." Deadshot catches the life grenade. Because sure, why not? And standing right beside him is Deathblow. Deadshot calls him his buddy, and Deathblow immediately shuts that down. We are not friends. So the team chemistry is already great. Deadshot lobs the grenade into the air and casually asks if Slade knows Deathblow. Deathblow answers in the most efficient way possible. He aims and shoots the grenade out of the sky. It explodes harmlessly overhead. So just to recap the situation, Slade is wounded, cornered, and now staring down two of the most precise killers on the planet. This is not going great for him. Deathstroke is done hiding. He jumps out with his sword and tells Deadshot he's done talking. He wants the name. Who is the client? And as they start clashing, Slade finally says it loud. Who killed Wintergreen? And that completely throws Deadshot off. He looks genuinely confused, like Slade just said something nonsensical. Then Deathblow fires non-lethal rounds and blasts Slade away from Deadshot. Tells him to stay down and this can stay non-lethal. But even on the ground, Slade keeps asking, who killed him? Deadshot goes, "Did you hit your head in that crash?" Because according to Deadshot, Slade already knows the answer. And that's where it starts getting darker. Deathstroke starts hearing voices. The voices tells him they're mocking him, that he's falling apart. And Slade snaps out loud, "Shut up, you're not here, you're not real." Deadshot hears that, and all he says is, "Oh no." Because now this isn't just a fight. Slade might actually be losing his mind. Deadshot kneels in front of Deathstroke and just tries to process what he's seeing. He's cracking up. Is he really talking to his dead friend right now? Then, because it's Deadshot, he asks if there's a ghost here. Like, is this a dead man situation? Which is genuinely the worst possible thing to say. Slade immediately launches up, tackles Deadshot, and tells him if he wants it to become a dead man situation, keep dodging the question. He demands the name again. Who killed Wintergreen? Deadshot calls him crazy. Deathstroke pistol whips him in the head. Deathblow watches this and goes, "Yeah, that's outside acceptable bounds, even by assassin standards." And then Deadshot says what this is actually about. Deathstroke broke the code. He made it personal. Slade has no idea what he's talking about. Deathstroke backflips away to reset. Deadshot brings up rule number 1. Slade goes, "What?" And the voice in his head twists the knife. Deadshot's right. You're losing it. Slade tells it out loud that it's not real. It's not here. Deadshot approaches more carefully, asking if he's doing okay. But Slade is done with this conversation. He charges again with a knife. I don't feel anything. He tackles Deadshot to the ground. Deathblow gets behind him and gives a warning. He's not looking to kill Slade, but he's got him in his sights, and he doesn't miss. He starts counting. 1, 2, and then pop. 2 years ago, we're at what I can only describe as the worst networking event ever, a gathering of mercenaries and assassins. Wintergreen is standing there with a wine glass, addressing the room like this is a very classy murder conference. He thanks the Merchants of Death for attending, admits the invitations were unconventional, maybe a little aggressive, probably inconvenient, but their presence shows mutual respect, not necessarily for each other, but for the work. And the work, he says, has gotten complicated. Then a voice cuts in from the back. Maybe it's only complicated for you. We see who's in the room. Captain Boomerang, Dracon, Cheshire, Deadshot, Merlin, Black Spider, KG Beast, just a full murderer's row of operators. KG Beast goes, "This is simple. Point gun, shoot gun, murder target." Black Spider agrees. He didn't come here for lessons. Merlin asks who Wintergreen even is. That's when Deathstroke steps in. He says Wintergreen speaks for him. And then Slade makes the whole point of the meeting clear. This isn't assassination school. Everyone in this room knows how to kill. The problem is that with this many people operating in the same space, wires are getting crossed. The wrong people are dying. And he's not polite about it. He basically says they're all sloppy. But if they want to be paid like professionals, they need to act like professionals. Then another voice says, of course Deathstroke would be the one talking about rules. That's Ra's al Ghul, standing above them with the League of Assassins. He looks down at the whole room like they're beneath him, calls them insects who only know how to follow. Deathstroke says they didn't come here to fight. Raz says, excellent, we'll keep that in mind. Then he orders the League to kill everyone. So much for peaceful summit. The whole room explodes into chaos. Assassins attacking, mercenaries fighting back, total massacre energy. Right in the middle of all this, Deathstroke is cutting through League members and still making his speech. Nobody is in charge here, but there are going to be rules. And if people break those rules, there are going to be consequences. Then Slade slides straight towards Raz and puts a sword to his throat. He calls him Dracula, which, okay, bold business model, and tells him plainly, nobody runs this, not Raz, not Deathstroke, not anyone. Raz stands down, tells the League to stop, and Deathstroke just calmly turns back to the room like nothing happened and says, as my friend was saying, let's talk guidelines. Wintergreen, somehow still composed, picks up right where he left off. Then one of the assassins decides this is the perfect time to mouth off about Wintergreen and his little rulebook. Bad choice. Deathstroke shoots him twice in the chest. No warning, no debate. Just done. Then he asks if anyone else has anything to say. The room goes very quiet. Wintergreen continues. He explains the actual logic. The people in this room are elite professionals, not random Gotham freaks. Nobody's taking away their style or their flair. But if they want to get paid like professionals, they need to behave like it. Because when one of them slips up, it hurts business for everyone. Deathstroke backs it up with a soda analogy. If one soda brand makes people's eyes bleed, people don't switch brands. They stop buying soda altogether. That's the whole thing. The code isn't about being good people. It's about protecting the business. A few hours later, Deathstroke is with Adeline, and now we get the actual rules. Rule number 1, follow orders. If you take a job, finish the objective cleanly. A satisfied client pays. Rule number 2, family is off limits. This is business, not personal. Slade tells Adeline it's done. They agreed to the guidelines. And the reason behind Rule 2 is right there in his voice. He says families won't be used as leverage. What happened to them won't happen again. So for Slade, this code isn't just about money. It's about control. about carving out a set of rules in a world that's already taken everything from him. Adeline doesn't buy it. She asks what good any of this does for her, for their sons. And then she starts hitting him, because to her, this isn't protection. This is too late. Joseph is never recovering from what was done to him. Grant is dead and never coming back. Slade tries to say something about Grant, but she cuts him off. She can't believe rules are the best answer he has. He tells her this will keep her safe. His word means something. This will protect what's left of their family. She tells him not to touch her. Then she asks the real question. Why isn't he broken too? Is he even in there? Does he feel anything at all? She says she's completely frozen, and he just keeps moving forward like nothing happened. And Slade's answer is cold. He says he felt it when he shot him in the eye. Adeline walks out and says he wasn't supposed to feel it. You were supposed to die. Cut back to the present. Deathblow is still counting. 3. Deathblow shoots Slade in the back. And we get rule number 3 in the narration. No credit, no freebies. They are service providers. If you are good at something, you get paid for it. Deadshot gets back up and mocks him. Is Deathstroke begging right now? Both of them aim at Slade. Deadshot says if he wants mercy, he's better off pleading with Deathblow, because Deadshot isn't here on a contract. He came here for blood. But he says if Slade doesn't want to fight, Deathstroke cuts him off the only way he knows how. He jumps up with a knife and says he never said he didn't want to fight. Then he slashes Deadshot across the torso. And while the fight keeps going, we get more rules in the narration. Rule number 4, exclusivity. Once you have a contract, it's yours. You get a window to finish it before anyone else can bid. Be fast, be diligent. Rule number 5, discretion. No snitching, your client, your team, your information. None of it is for sale. And that makes this whole fight messier, because Slade is demanding the one thing the code says nobody can give him. Deathblow opens fire, barely misses. Slade throws his knife at him and starts shouting, "Tell me who killed my..." Someone hits him on the comms. Slade says he's busy. They say they'll be quick. While Deadshot recovers and Deathblow pulls a knife out of his hand, we see the comms person sitting in front of a wall of monitors. They've been digging for anything on the blind drop client, but hit a firewall. Whoever this is, they really don't want Deathstroke finding them. Slade says, "Yeah, I think I'm looking at them." Meanwhile, Deadshot tells Deathblow to go high while he takes Slade's legs out. Then comms adds, police and media are all over the scene from Slade's last assignment. Chatter everywhere. But nobody has anything placing Wintergreen there. Deathstroke says, "It was him. I saw him. I know what my best friend looks like." The comm voice says they're not doubting him, but the evidence is weird. Someone is running hard searches for Wintergreen through every channel. And they're also searching for Slade. Feels like another mark. But whoever it is, they're messy about it. They ask if Slade knows who'd be looking for both of them right now. He says he has a guess, asks how to stay hidden. Advice? Keep moving. Don't draw attention. Slade says he can do the first one. No promises on the second. And then Deathblow looks down and realizes his gun is gone. It's in Deathstroke's hand. Slade fires over and over. Huge explosion. Deathblow gets blasted back, barely standing. Deathstroke empties the clip. Deathblow on the ground says he's unstoppable. Slade tells him he's finally catching on. They can hit him all they want. He'll keep moving. He doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel pain. I don't feel anything. And then Deadshot's arm appears right next to Slade's head. Nobody's unstoppable. He fires from his wrist gun straight into Deathstroke's head. Half the mask gets blown off. Slade drops to his knees, and all he says is, "I told you." We're close on Slade now, half his face exposed and damaged, still conscious, still talking. He says someone is targeting his people. Nothing will stop him from finding out who. Deathblow slams a fist into his chest, pinning him down. Slade keeps going. Kill him 100 times, he'll claw out of hell and keep coming. Deadshot kneels in front of him, gun aimed right at his head. Let's see if you're right about that. And Slade finally sounds desperate. He screams the question one more time. Who killed Wintergreen? Deadshot steadies his aim. Come on, man. Be serious. Everyone knows. And then we see it. Camera footage. The room where Wintergreen was killed. And on that footage, someone in Deathstroke costume is standing over Wintergreen. That person slits his throat. Deadshot gives Slade the answer. You killed Wintergreen. And that's it. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and comment your favorite moment down below. I'll see you next time on Superhero Explained.